You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we are going to be talking about the IPL mini auction. We're going to be giving our reaction, we're going to be talking winners and losers, we're going to give insight into every team, and we're going to be answering questions. I'm Jack Hope, I'm joined by Maximus Rowe Brown, back in his parents' house for Christmas. Are things festive where you are, Max?
No, it's an absolute tip, but we'll turn things around. We always do.
And Ross, you're also at home, aren't you? Back in Crawley Town. Is it festive where you are?
Yeah, very festive, very festive. I'm surprised I have a Christmas hat on, but not that much into Christmas.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll ask you a question in a second, and I'll go get my Christmas hat. How about that?
No, nice. Yeah,
right.
That sounds like a good idea.
And that question will be, Ross, can you tell us and tell the listeners what they need to know?
Yes, if you're watching this video, thank you for watching this video. So hit like, hit subscribe, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the Cricket Pod. And if you want access to the Discord channel that we've got running today and running every day, sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/the Cricket Pod. And that has been, thousands of messages today following it since 8 o'clock this morning. And that is an atrocity of a hat that Jack is wearing.
What's wrong with it? It's getting a bit of glare, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, that is really quite something.
We should have started this podcast with an elf warning.
Way, elf and safety. So, Max, where are we going to start this wonderful show? Because there's so many different things to talk about, right? There was some huge buys, record breaking. Jack's going to get us taken off air and put on a list. And there was also some terrible buys and some very weird strategies.
We're going to do winners and losers first. I just want initial reaction. That's what people want to know. Headline stuff.
Yeah.
Who won the IPL auction and who lost the IPL auction? Max, we'll start with you. We'll do winners, then we'll do losers, because we try to be positive, but we're less good at that. So we'll warm up with the bit we're not good at, and then we'll pile in on the people who did wrong.
Excellent.
Max, your IPL auction winner, please.
Sam Curran, obviously. Sam Curran won the IPL auction. You can't win it if you're a team because no one knows what they're doing, apparently. So the actual winner I have to give to Sam Curran. Team-wise, yeah, it's an interesting one. I think the winners are probably the ones that didn't have to do too much. So a team like RCB, perhaps, I would say they were winners. They got pretty much what they needed in terms of Will Jacks as a cover for Glenn Maxwell, which we mentioned the other day. We thought would work nicely, and I think Reece Topley is a decent bet as well. But that's where I'm going to go. I'll go RCB. There you go.
Nice. Ross, your winner of the IPL auction.
Oh, it's got to be Sunrisers Hyderabad. That's the only place they can possibly go. They've had an absolute stormer, I think, of where they were last year, where they are now. They must be laughing all the way to the cocktail place afterwards, which the auctioneer was very keen to get people to go to.
the après.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about, isn't it? Yeah, the big meet-up.
One big Christmas jolly.
Now, I suppose that's the downside, isn't it, of moving to the better studio overall with the pods, but the worse venue for cocktails afterwards without the wedding table.
Yeah, there wasn't the wedding table. I was very disappointed.
How's the waiter efficiently going to distribute bottles of wine in the format that they use this year?
Who's your winner, Jack?
Oh, my winner. Right, there's two, I think. Sunrisers Hyderabad, in my mind, absolutely smashed it.
They did do well. They did do well.
Arguably, they could have tried to get an all-rounder. Did they even need that? I don't know. They filled the big gap. They got a few extras, a few bells and whistles. I think they did a grand job. And I'm actually, I'm going to say this now, and we'll see how things develop. But I'm actually quite looking forward.
You're making them favourites?
No, I'm not making them favourites. But I'm looking forward to watching this team play for the first time in 4 years, which I think is great.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. The other big winner, the Punjab Kings owners, with their 12.2 crore unspent purse that they can put in their back pocket. I think that's good business. You have to say that, don't you, Ross?
No, you don't. That is literally they might as well have taken a handgun and just shot themselves in the genitals. Like I literally just don't like what they've done is a disaster. They've not only
They've
left
made bank.
no, they've literally left over a third of the purse that they went into the auction with, and they'd be like, "Do you know what? A pound saved is a pound earned." Right? And this,
I've got them down as winners. Ross, Max, losers. Who lost the IPL auction?
For me, I think Mumbai Indians have lost the plot. I know Ross makes a very strong case for Punjab Kings as a cricket team for losing the auction. Let's set the owners aside. But Mumbai, I mean, they've spunked, and I say that with serious vitriol. Cameron, 17.5 crore up the wall on Cameron Green. That is a gamble and a half. And they've decided that the way to fix their lack of spin problem is to get Donut Boy back in the game.
Pierce Chawner is back, baby.
It's a disaster from my point of view. I think they've properly screwed the pooch.
Yeah. Ross, your loser?
Well, I think it has to be like Punjab Kings. I think did okay because they got Sam Curran, but they've literally got no domestic bowling.
Nothing else.
It's literally absolutely. They almost were just like, oh, we've done it, and maybe they launched the paddle in celebration when they got Sam Curran and just couldn't find it again. Maybe that is what actually ended up happening. I think people have been tweeting us in saying that they feel like Delhi had a bit of a strange go at it, but not so sure on that one. And when it comes to Rajasthan Royals, my boys, some very interesting pickups. But my losers are going to have to be Punjab Kings.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't know, losers otherwise. Were there any players that didn't get picked up that should have been picked up?
Not even worth naming, I don't think.
Yeah,
really.
I think they actually did a relatively good job of spending money on the right players this year. The teams, I'd agree Mumbai on the loser front. Out to go into it in too much detail. A potential winner though is Arjun Tendulkar. He might have to bowl depending on how they set up. So we could finally see his debut after 3 years of bench warming for Mumbai.
Oh, he must have played once. Once.
No, he's a mascot.
He hasn't. Yeah, he genuinely hasn't played yet.
Mascot.
He's a mascot. Okay, that's our initial take on winners and losers. What do we want to do next? We can go through the big signings, or do you want to do team by team, grade them A to F like we did?
Should we talk about the big news,
dogs.
the big moves
Right.
and shakers?
Well, we might as well start. I mean, it's a pretty rad auction, wasn't it? Rad. I don't know where that came from.
That was rad, man. That was
rad.
wizard.
It was.
Can we talk about the gnarly pickups, dude?
The gnarly pickups. I think 4 of the 5 most expensive players ever went in this auction. We'll start with the most expensive of them, Sam Curran, Max. 18.45 crore. He didn't break the 20 crore mark like Ross expected. I think that might have been a product of him coming out quite early in the all-rounders pot. Is he going to be happy with his 18.5 crore, or will he be greedy?
will he be cursing
will he
that
be
extra
angry?
150,000 pounds he could have had? Somehow,
dabbing his face with cash.
Somehow, I think Sam Curran is going to have a very, very happy Christmas indeed. And yeah, I mean, like you said, it's what we expected, isn't it? We expected the bank to be broken. We expect all-rounders always go big, especially seeing bowling all-rounders. It's that point of difference, and Sam Curran has that extra bit in that he can bat pretty much anywhere in the top 8 if you want, and he's seemingly really improved his death bowling. So it makes perfect sense that he's gone for a ridiculous amount of money, especially based on the player pool available. Punjab Kings, obviously the ones to win. I mean, as soon as that started, it was obvious where it was going, wasn't it? Literally everyone with any money was in for him.
It was cute how Rajasthan Royals did it a couple of times, and they ran out of
We might as well. Yeah, you never know. People might forget. They might all fall asleep or something. Yeah. It must have been quite a weird sensation for Sam Curran to sit there watching people go ballistic over him. Like, even though he would probably half expected it himself. That must be quite an interesting feeling to have. But yeah, as expected, really. But boy, yeah, what a price.
I think it's a good price. for Curran. I actually don't mind it, bearing in mind the players that were available and what Punjab needed to do. I think he was the best available option for them.
Well,
I think
if you
that
compare
they
it
had
to
spend
the
loads of money on him.
if you compare it to the second and third most expensive players in the auction, it's an absolute fucking bargain.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like literally, it's ridiculous. He's probably like in terms of expected wins that Sam Curran's going to generate for you, 2 to 5 times more valuable than Cameron Green and Ben Stokes. I'd have thought, which is nuts. Like that's absolutely nuts. The other things, I mean, obviously he can bowl for them, which is good.
Yeah, for 4 overs off.
Big upgrade on O'Dean Smith from last season, and he can bat pretty much anywhere from 2 to 7, which is quite handy for them and gives them a lot of flexibility. Left-handed, which might help them with some of their spin issues. They're well documented. I think they were the worst team against spin last year. So that bit of variety, and obviously losing Agarwal, they're able to in one player basically they can bring in a left-handed batter that could be anywhere in your top 6. They've got 2 overs two overs at the death and 2 good middle overs. They were the worst team in the middle overs. They lost their left-handed top order batter. Death overs are great in the IPL. It's an all-round clever pickup. A no-brainer to
as
go
Ross
for
said,
him.
they just put their feet up.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh wait, can we have Sakana Raza, please? Take a choke of the cigarette, and then it's we're done. Jack is that whiskey, please. They've only got 7 overseas players. They've got 8 slots, just 7. That's fine.
On Sunrisers. We'll get to that. Sudeep sent us a super chat. Thank you very much. If anyone else wants to do that, we will. Ross, you've got another bet proposal, so we'll see whether you want to take it up this year.
Excellent.
Number 2 on the list. We'll do the top 6 most expensive players, I think, because they are probably the headlines.
I think
Number 2
they're
on
the
list.
interesting ones, aren't they? Yeah.
Cam Green, 17.5 crore, 1 crore less than Sam Curran. What I like about this is that he has taken 5 career T20 wickets and will almost certainly have to bowl 4 overs for Mumbai Indians in all of their games if that team's going to function properly. 17.5 crore Cameron Green to Mumbai Indians. Ross, you're shaking your head.
It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. Like literally, like I don't understand. Like they were like fully celebrating when they got him as well. Like they'd scored a goal or something. And I was sitting there, my head was in houses. So what have Mumbai done to themselves? Because they didn't really need him. Right, they don't need that type of player. They're already struggling to get people into their team, and they don't have the bowling. Like bowling is the big thing. Their batting lineup absolutely fine. Rohit, Ishad, Sky, Tilak Varma, Stubbs, Brevis, whoever else is in that lineup, right? Tim David, exactly. And you're sitting there going, spend some money on some bloody bowlers, and they've bought, as you say, the guy's taken 5 wickets in T20 cricket, and you're sitting there going, What were they smoking? Like, what were they smoking?
I suppose if you look at it, if you just use the eye test, he is big. He can hit 6s, and he does bowl 140 plus Ks, and get some bounce. And maybe at the Wankhede that will be more useful, or that will be useful. I think it's one of the grounds where Seam tends to do fairly well, so maybe it will be okay from that point of view. I think it is crazy money though.
It is mad money. Mad. If it was around 10 crore, you'd be sitting there going, "Do you know what? Worth the punt." He's unproven. Yeah. He's had a couple of good games, and do you know what? Actually worth it. But he's the second most expensive player of all time.
I mean,
that's not even registering some people's heads.
It could work out. It could end up being worth the money. I mean, he's clearly like unbelievably talented and likely going to be a phenomenal cricketer. But whether that translates to the IPL is such a huge question mark that spending that amount of money is insane. It's literally insane, and that's quite apart from the fact, like you said, that like that wasn't even what they needed to fix.
Well, this is what I don't.
They needed a spinner.
I can sort of like. There are some teams in this auction who, if they drop that money on Cameron Green, I'd say you've paid too much, but at least he fits the profile of player. That you sort of need. Cameron Green, we've got they're probably going to make him bat in the middle order. We've got no idea whether he can do that. He's never done it before.
Yeah.
The only
He
time he's
opens
been
normally, right?
successful, the only time he's been successful is when he's opened the batting. He hasn't played that much T20 cricket, so we haven't got loads of data on him. But the only time he has been successful with the bat has been opening the batting. What are they going to drop Rohit down? Is Ishan going to drop down? I doubt it.
Ishan could drop down.
Are they going to bat him
Oh.
3? That could be a bit of a pile up, because then you've got Tilak Varma, who hasn't developed in a particularly explosive way, and then you've got Sky. So how does that work to top 5? And then you've got
Tim David.
Tim David, yeah, and that's if you go down the route that some people are saying that they will, and you go with Tim David and Cameron Green as your 2 batting overseas, shoehorn probably another Indian batter, maybe an Indian batter who can bowl. I'm not even sure they've got that, to be honest. And that enables you to play Jai Richardson or Berendorf to give you the bowling, because they haven't got any bowling. It's a really shonky lineup, I think. But I don't know where the bowling is. I don't know who's going to bowl for them.
Yeah, I did think Jai Richardson was a nice little pickup.
But I don't know, how does he fit in this team? Is he in there? Is he?
Would have been a good pickup if they hadn't spent 17.5 crore on Cameron Green.
Yeah, if he's his understudy to Joffre, I suppose. Is
that what it is? Yeah. So Richardson and Berendorf aren't going to bowl, which means you think, Ross, that they're not going to play, which is probably what I think as well. Which means that you're going to need overs from Cameron Green, Tilak Varma, and Devil Brevis if he plays, or Tristan Stubbs if he plays. It means that probably Kumar Kartikeya has to bowl his 4 in every match. It means you're expecting here that Bumrah's going to be
the 20 lakh powerhouse that is
and able to play. What are they going to do? Try and get Chawla in as well, or are they going to go for another sort of relatively unknown Indian bowler?
I think maybe Milani or come in. I know, like one of the
I think it's
picked
really
up today.
Tricky. I think so. I think what we're saying here is it's not necessarily that we think Green's rubbish or he won't perform. It's just that all of the problems that Mumbai have are not solved by Cameron Green, and by spending
arguably made worse
all of the money on Cameron Green. Yeah, you either make the problems worse or you create a situation where you can't address any of the problems.
Yeah, it's like the Mumbai Indians' wife went out and be like, look, we're expecting triplets. We need a car that's going to be able to transport our triplets in. And I've gone out, or the Mumbai has gone out, and they've bought a motorbike. That's what it feels like has happened here.
But it's got a really fancy sidecar.
Yeah, exactly. Very strange.
Right.
Anyway, we're not doing team. Who's third?
Third on the list is Big Ben Stokes to Chennai Super Kings for 16.25 crore. That's a proper Chennai Super Kings pickup, isn't it?
Not thrilled about that one. I love Ben, but I mean, batting wise, it kind of works. In sort of that like batting at 4 with Uthappa retiring. Bowling wise, I mean, it's not really what Chennai needed, is it? They needed death bowling, and Ben Stokes might bowl 2 hours in the power play, and then not bowl for the rest of the innings. And then what are you doing? Is your death bowling going to be
Dubey
down to Mukesh Chowdhury again, Shivam Dubey, the 90th over? I mean, it's puzzling to me, especially again given that it's like 80% of the purse that they had.
Yeah, and they had Deepak Chahar and Tikshana, who are much better in the power play.
Yeah, exactly.
Other periods of the game, so it's
really puzzling.
I mean, there wasn't, to be fair, a shed load of death bowling available.
No, but I mean,
auction. But
I would have preferred Jason Holder for a fraction of the price.
I'd agree with that.
Because a bowling all rounder is probably more important than a batting all rounder for Chennai, and again, he's got that death aspect that
Carl Jameson
definitely doesn't have. Well, yeah, Carl Jamison's 1 crore is not bad. I don't think it's worth giving him another go.
They'd have a pretty good test team, wouldn't they?
Yeah. They would. They really would.
If you're an off spinner, you're licking your lips at that lineup. It's literally just left-hander, 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 left-hander.
I mean, the other thing about Stokes is presumably if you're going to spend that money on him, you're planning to bat him in the top 4. Does that mean Moeen Ali gets shunted?
No, I think Conway gets dropped. Is what I think happens. Yeah, I'm dropping Conway in that lineup.
Okay.
And then because they're going to be playing at the Cheap
Does that
Hawk.
mean Pretorius is still playing?
No, I think Tikshana plays, Ben Stokes plays, Moeen Ali plays, and then you probably are playing maybe Santner, or when you're playing at the Cheap Hawk.
I mean, you literally have Jadeja.
Yeah,
but
I don't know about Santner.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it sort of complicates things. I don't think
Yeah.
it's as bad as Mumbai getting Cameron Green, but it's
Yeah.
in the same category of strange.
I don't mind Pretorius. I don't mind the Sri Lankan they've got either in Padarana.
Maybe they think he'll be the death bowler. I think that's asking a
Maybe.
lot, but
Yeah.
right, next on the list of expensive dudes is Nicholas Pooran, the 5th most expensive player in the history of the IPL.
Anand has just put in the chat around the impact sub. We've not mentioned the impact sub yet, have we?
No.
And they've suggested that you could bowl 2 overs of Ben Stokes in the power play and then replace him and then get Pretorius in to bowl at the death. So maybe it's going to be an interesting use of the impact sub.
So here's the problem.
Only
with that
works
plan.
if you're batting first, obviously.
And there's another problem with this plan. You can only use the impact sub on a non-Indian player if you're using less than 4 overseas players in your starting 11.
Wow.
So it's a good
You
plan.
can only have a total of
It's a
4
good
overseas
plan.
players.
Yeah.
Out of 12.
Scuppered by the rules.
Nicholas Pooran, the 5th most expensive player.
Yeah, sorry,
in
let me
the
go back
IPL.
to shaking my head.
Well,
No.
I mean, what do you say about this? Lucknow Super Jets, they have De Kock.
and KL Rahul. Like the one extra thing about Nicholas Pooran that makes him not just a batter is completely pointless to LSG because they don't need a wicketkeeper. And what?
Yeah,
What?
it's
I'm baffled.
it does leave you a little bit kind of speechless, doesn't it? Because it just completely doesn't make sense to spend all your money on a guy who's got like a wicket keeping premium. I don't know. I suppose if you're being generous, what's Pooran played? 3 years in the IPL. 2 of them have been pretty good. One was really, really good. One was one of the worst seasons ever. But there is like an upside there. He's quite a young guy. He's reasonably versatile. He's a good hitter of spin, which is a relatively premium skill. And they didn't necessarily have a batter like Pooran already in that lineup. Do you remember last year they were kind of trying to use Evan Lewis as a number 3 and it didn't quite work? I think Stoinis or Pooran at number 3 and the other one at sort of number 4 or 5 is a better batting lineup in my mind overall. So perhaps it helps out there. Obviously you've got Deepak Hooda as well to slot into that middle order, and then right. What I think what I'm saying
the batting
is that Pooran is an
is what they
upgrade on
need.
Evan Lewis.
Yeah, I don't actually hate it if I'm perfectly honest.
The batting is what they needed. That bit I'm totally fine with, but I just think 16 crore is completely insane.
Because
they're not getting half of the value of it.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is that Riley Russo went for 5.5 to Delhi.
Like, yeah,
possibly a better player, and
fulfills exactly the thing.
The
that
only
they
thing
need.
he doesn't do is wicket keep, left-handed as well. But Pooran is left-handed, isn't it? Yeah. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe there was a better value option out there than Pooran. 16 crore. I mean, there is an inflation element to this. Like every team got an extra 5 crore to spend at this auction. You release a couple of players and you've got some money, and you have to sort of have to spend the money, don't you? So
no, you don't. Apparently,
it does. There is an inflationary element to this, but 16 crore Ross. How much of it? I think we all agree it's an overspend, but that he's not a bad player. How much of an overspend would you say it was?
Well, I think what did he go for last year? About 14? Was that?
Yeah, something like that. 12 maybe.
Like that. Yeah, and I think he's definitely in. Because he's left-handed, because he's got the wicket-keeping part of it as well, regardless if Lucknow needed a wicket-keeper or not, and the fact that he's got a reasonably good record against spin, I think counts quite a lot in his favour. And if you look at some of the people who are available in this, Pooran was definitely in the top 10 best players in this lineup. Lucknow leave with still money in the purse, and they're probably quite happy with their team, right? I think their kind of all-rounder approach needed a bit of ballast in it from a proper batsman point of view, and maybe that's what they see. Oh, that's not maybe, that's definitely what they see in Nicholas Pooran, and I think it makes them stronger as an 11, and that's what you want from a mini auction.
Yeah. All right. Number 5, Harry Brook, 13.25 crore to Sunrisers Hyderabad. One of the early names in the auction. I think a few people, I think we may have been on our preview, we may have been some of those people said or thought that he might not go in the initial round and would be one of the sort of late bidding wars, like Riley Russo basically, that goes for between 2 and 5 crore in the second round. Instead, there was a bidding war basically, and it went up to 13.25 crore. Sunrisers flexed their muscles, took down Harry Brook. Are you a little bit surprised by that, Ross?
I don't know, this was the one which registered Royals. They clearly wanted him. They literally bid their whole purse. They were just like, "This is what we want," and then literally Sunrise were just like, "I'm sorry, I'm taking this." And again, we said yesterday on the previous show, Sunrisers need batting. And Harry Brook could open the batting in T20 cricket. He can bat all the way down at 6 and be the finisher. That's kind of what they were looking for, and I think he's a great option for them. When you've got 42 crore to play with, actually you could do whatever the hell you want. And if you've got that plan, Brian Lara came out and said that he was the guy that they wanted the most, and they had that in the first round. There was a massive risk that they were going to come out of it with Kane Williamson and then pick up Jason Holder. They have not done that. And I think they can look back and go, we have made Harry Brook a millionaire, and we've given ourselves a great chance at the playoffs. Yeah,
I really like him. I think there's a couple of question marks. I don't think he's a player without risk. But I think it's an example of where Sunrisers are sort of taken a good calculated risk. Harry Brook probably is the player of all of the overseas batters who has the highest ceiling, might end up being the best. At the moment, there's still a couple of question marks about spin, I think particularly early in his innings, so they might need a bit of a spin shield when he goes out to bat, or to use him. They might use him as like a number 5 to sort of slay pace bowling in the last 6 or 7 overs. So I think there's an element, there is an element of risk from that point of view, but he is supremely talented. Like he's a 3-format player for England now. 3, I know it's Test cricket, but 3 quite stylish tons against Pakistan. Some quite brutal hitting in the PSL in the past and in Pakistan recently, which suggests that probably he'll be okay on most of these pitches.
48 ball 100, wasn't it, in the PSL?
Was it? Yeah. So he's got that in his locker. I think there's, and he's young as shit, isn't he? Like he's 23.
The way I see this is they basically traded Kane Williamson for Harry Brook for minus 0.75 crore. Yeah. Now that is a win.
Very nicely put, Max. Very nicely put.
And then the final player, number 6, also the Sunrisers, also a batter, this time a local player, Mayank Agarwal, at only 8.25 crore. So half the price of a Ben Stokes, basically. Half the price for Nicholas Pooran.
That's the biggest bargain ever in IPL history, I think.
Great deal. Yeah.
It's unbelievable how other teams are like, yeah, you can have him.
I don't know whether there's something that's happened with Mayank Agarwal that everyone knows about, and that there's some risk here.
Or recency bias has happened again because he was a bit bad last year.
But he
improves every other team.
Yeah, he's a really stellar batter, good player of spin, left-handed. That's a premium. Can open the batting.
Would have been a lot cheaper than Nicholas Pooran.
They had a
and saved you an overseas slot.
Glaring hole as an opening up, and they filled it with one of, if not, probably one of the best 5 players that you could have got. I think and I mean overseas and domestic. I think Mayank Agarwal was really, really good. The fact that he had a bad year last year for Punjab when they were trying something a bit different, and he was captaining for the first time, I think it's irrelevant. I think he's a really good player. Potentially a captain as well if you want to make him one.
He was the best domestic talent in the whole thing, and to get him at 8.25 is amazing. Really
so that's that. Right, we've done half an hour, fellas. Are we going to do a little bit more? Do we want to do? Should we rate each team A to F?
That sounds like
would that work for you? And should we play cowboy music in the background to make...
Mixed reaction to that one.
Let's do teachers grading music in the background, whatever that is.
Okay. We're going to run through the teams in the order that they appear on the IPL auction tracker on ESPN Cricket Info, which is not alphabet. I'm not even really sure how they've ordered these teams. It starts with Royal Challengers Bangalore. A to F, Ross. How's their business?
I think Will Jacks as the backup for Glenn Maxwell, and obviously Glenn Maxwell's got a broken leg. Great bit of business. Reece Topley coming in, I think, is a really good purchase as well. I think that's pretty much what they had to do in this run, is get those backup players, and they've strengthened. I reckon as auctions go and RCB's history, this is a B plus for them. I think
B plus. Interesting. Max, do you agree?
That's exactly the same. B plus was what I was going to say for the reasons that Ross has given.
Standard B.
Standard B, right.
Yeah. I was watching for some reason Sky didn't broadcast the auction, so I was following it on ESPN, and they had like a talking panel, and they could not believe that Royal Challengers Bangalore went for Will Jacks instead of Rassie van der Dussen. They were like,
because they watch cricket. Do they watch cricket? Who was on the panel?
This is
astonishing. Let's call them out. Who's on the panel?
Why would they not pick up Rassie van der Dussen, who's got experience in the IPL as an international talent? It's like Will Jacks is like, he can bowl, which is a big plus. If he's replacing Maxwell, he can bowl. That's great. He can open the batting, and he could probably walk in as an opening batter, like talent wise, into most of these teams. He's young, so you're getting a premium there. I don't see what the downside is. I mean, yes, he might not be an exact like-for-like replacement for Maxwell, but I think you could still open him, knock Kohli down from opener to 3, and your team's fine if you're Royal Challengers Bangalore. Or just tell him you have to bat 5, mate. Like, I don't.
He could probably do it.
Yeah. So I think good work there.
It's bad news for Finn Allen, though. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little, but I mean, I don't know who would they play? Would they play him anyway? I think the other person that they picked up, Reece Topley, as a backup, probably to Hazelwood, is decent business as well. I think as a bowler, he's probably not quite starter quality, but you're not going to get a huge downgrade if Reece Topley has to play for you. And Hazelwood's not always the fittest guy. I'd expect to see Topley at some point, and I think that's a good choice that they've gone for, and they've got him pretty cheap. Kolkata are the next team. They didn't have much to play with. They didn't really do too much at the auction. They did most of their business beforehand. I'm looking through here. I think their most expensive player is Shakib at 1.5 crore, with David Visa at 1, and Narayan Jagadisan at 0.9. What did you think, Max?
So, David Visa for 1 crore. I quite like it. I think that's probably just a backup for Andre Russell, which it works. You'll get overs out of him. He could do some biffing. Not bad. Jagadisan for 90 lakh. I mean, we were concerned about how expensive he might get. So, I would say that's a win. And listen, that's at base price. I don't hate either. But unfortunately, that's all tempered by Shakib. So, I think that's a total waste of money. But I think
it was last, though. It was last, so it wasn't like they got him early in the auction and stopped themselves from the options, right? He was picked up as one of the last 3 players in the whole thing. So,
but I think there are probably other people they could have got instead. But I think it's fine. I'm thinking sort of a B around for KK. I mean, there wasn't much they could do, and I think what they did made a bit of sense. So reasonable. Aurora as well is all right.
Yeah, I think Aurora's a nice little pickup. I was disappointed they didn't get someone like Phil Salt in this lineup, but they just couldn't afford him.
What are we giving them? A to F?
B, I think.
I think a B. I think a B as well. I think
C. I think they could have
I think their team looks all right.
I think they could have been slightly more ambitious.
Yeah, they did go in with it like 7 crore. They're coming
I know, but you could have at least had 1 punt. And they didn't
a
single punt. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like you could have had a punt and that purse available. Like
a B, but a 3 for effort.
Like had they managed to snipe, we don't know what would have happened. Had they managed to snipe Phil Salt, for example, he can wicket keep. He's an upgrade on Gurbaz. Going to be in their starting 11. Mm-hmm. I think that would have been worth the punt. They've got Lytton Das, who's okay and good in theory. Cover for Gurbaz as well, but you know what I mean. Punjab Kings, they get Curran, That's the
which
big one.
is lots. So that's a
And Sikandar Raza, Harpreet Bhatia, is the third most expensive player they picked up for 40 lakh. I don't really know what to make of that. I really don't know what to make of that.
This is a C, but only because Sam Curran's there.
Now I'm giving it a D, but only because Sam Curran's there.
What
were they doing? I
don't know. I mean, like, to be fair, I don't know what they were supposed to do.
Well,
like,
not be like, oh, the owners need to save some bloody money. They needed Dan Weston at that table. Dan Weston should have been there.
What's telling to me about Punjab Kings is that they bid on Agarwal.
Well, that was that was crazy to me. I agree with this. I don't really understand why they were.
They could have afforded him. They could have bought him.
They could have bought him. This is what I don't get. Like, why, if you're going to bid on him, why are you going to bail out? Like that didn't make any sense to me. The other thing, which I think makes me agree with you, Max, is that they only picked up 7 overseas players. So even though I don't think there's anyone that they could have bought that would definitely get in their team, and I
might as well have spent some of the extra
Livingston,
12.
Rabada and Bairstow are guaranteed. Nathan Ellis is a good backup, and Rajapaksa is a good backup. They might as well, they may as well have just bought somebody.
Just buy Agarwal. That's always. It doesn't matter. Like, literally. Yeah,
so that's baffling. A bit weird. And they didn't really go into the market for sort of local batters that have potential.
No.
They've got a few missing spots.
They needed more players, didn't they?
Yeah.
They needed some more players to play in the first team, and they got one.
So we've got some things in the chat. Sudeep says that Sam Curran couldn't even find a link to watch the auction, that's classic cricket, isn't it? That is absolutely classic cricket.
He needed a VPN, didn't he, Ross?
He did. Should have come to me.
Cool. Chennai. Max, you support Chennai. ATF.
Yeah.
So who have they got? They got Stokes that came into it.
Yeah, and then Kyle Jameson.
And Rahane and Jameson.
How clear was Rahane going to them? Like, it was completely written. The OAP bus goes straight to town.
Yeah.
Go on, Rahane. You're coming to CSK.
It was like Pajara Mark II. Maybe not as obscene. I C-. I'm struggling with it. I don't think Ben Stokes fills the hole. I don't mind Jameson at 1 crore, but ultimately, I don't think they've really fixed anything that was lacking. There's still no death bowling. But I don't feel as viscerally against what they've done as I do against Punjab not buying anyone except for Sam Curran, weirdly. So I'm going to go C-. That's where I sit.
think C is fair. Like, Ben Stokes doesn't make their team worse. He just doesn't make it much better.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think they were a great team going into this auction, and I think they leave as not a great team.
Yeah.
I think that team's all right. I think you're falling into the CSK downer trap. I think they've got winners in that team who have been there and done it. They are playing back at the cheap orc, and I think they've got some good enough spinners in that lineup, and they've also got a batting lineup that knows how to play spin. So I think cheap orc will become a fortress again, and you'll see CSK rise.
They do have to play elsewhere as well.
Yeah. I'm not sure I love it. Delhi. Lots of people were really down on Delhi, and I don't fully understand why. I think they went into this auction with an 11 that was going to be quite hard to improve on unless they managed to snag an all-rounder. They bid really heavily on Cameron Green, which was fucking weird because they were never going to get him, and didn't really have a backup to that. I feel like the only way for them to have done excellently in this auction was to get somebody of the Jason Holder ilk that can maybe come in from Rothman Power.
Well, they could have got David Visa or something like that.
Yeah, possibly.
42-year-old David Visa.
Why not?
They pick up a couple of players. Mukesh Kumar.
Got Ishant Sharma.
Indian bowler who might play. Don't know. It probably be on the fringe. Oh, no, I think will play. I don't know if he'll be a lock starter for all 16 matches. And then Riley Russo, who I think probably is in a similar-ish kind of camp there. Might be an upgrade on Rothman Powell and might be an upgrade on Marsh Marsh depending on how you structure up your team, but also not necessarily a guarantee to play if they decide to go with like Norkia and the Fizz as 2 bowlers, and obviously Warner opening up. So we'll see if they play. I think their team's pretty good. I'd probably give them a B-ish for their auction. Yeah,
I think it's fine. I don't think they had much to do.
Let's move on to the next one then. Yeah, Rajasthan. They were like big players in the auction who achieved virtually nothing. The star purchase is Jason Holder, who I actually think I would say was really good business for what they needed and what his skills are. They also did that kind of fire sale thing at the end as well, where they pick up a few other players, Zampa, Root, and Ferreira, a bit like last year, except it's kind of spread the skills over a few different positions, which makes a bit more sense. I don't mind what they've done, Ross.
Yeah, no, as a Radstad Royals fan, what they had last year, I think, worked quite nicely for them, right? In the way in which they operated. I think they might be trying to think around how they can use the impact sub in some of those areas. But I think they had that hole to fill at kind of that 7 or 8 bracket. And yeah, Jason Holder kind of comes into that space. Probably means that someone like Obed McCoy will actually have to sit out because you're playing Butler, you're playing Hetmeyer, you're playing Trent Bolt. So that last space going between Holder, Zampa, Root, McCoy, and Ferreira. Yes, it's unlikely to be.
Well, I ain't falling to Joe Root. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I think it's pretty nailed on, isn't it? That it will be Holder, their 4th. I think he's very, probably a similar talent-wise bowler to Obed McCoy, and he could bat 6 for you.
Yeah,
maybe
decent fielder as well.
Yeah, really decent fielder. I think it's something like the player that they needed, Jason Holder. I think he'll add a little bit of balance to that team, and they were good last year. I think they'll have a good chance again this year. Mumbai. Did we give them a score out of 8?
I reckon it's a B. There's no one who's, I don't think it's quite an A, but I think they went in with it with a clear plan. Yeah. They've got great backups in each of the positions that they were looking for.
And I like Donovan Ferreira at 50 lakhs as well. He's supposed to be shit hot, isn't he? So
yeah,
look forward to seeing that.
Right, okay, I'm happy with a B there. Mumbai, I think they might be an F.
If anyone's an F, it's probably Mumbai.
Guy Richardson, positive. That's a positive pickup. Cameron Green, very negative pickup. P.S. Chorley, donut boy. I think he could be okay, but come on, he's not doing much else. They've got Marco Jansen's twin, Duan. And they got
actually true.
Yeah, it's his twin. So they got so if he's like pretty good, he's got the same genetic makeup, so hopefully he's pretty good.
That's how it always works.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah,
Bill and Gary Neville.
Mumbai have always traditionally been fans of nature over nurture, so that's that explained.
Yeah, what is good for them, Mumbai fans at this thing, your batting lineup is still unbelievably strong in this lineup. If you're going to have Archer back and you're going to have Bumrah, at least you've got 8 overs that you're going to be able to put out.
Shame about the other 12.
That is the most mental thing here. Like I think Cameron Green said the other day, I was reading some stuff about him. I think he said he wasn't sure how fit he'd be to bowl at the IPL auction. Like he was like, I might be on like a bowling limit to not be able to bowl in every game, or only be able to bowl a limited number of overs. They picked him in a role where he is going to basically have to bowl 4 overs a match. It's nuts. They can't really line their team up.
Pandya.
They can't really, they can't really line up. They can't really put out a team that doesn't rely heavily on him bowling, or like Tim David bowling, or Varma bowling, or Daryl Brevis bowling. They're all like properly part-time bowlers, and Cameron Green's really unproven, and we don't know whether he's going to be fit. I just think it's such a weird decision. They beat T20 cricket. They solved the game 3 years ago, and now they're doing this.
We were lauding them. We were lauding them on
mental.
This very show.
If you look at their highest paid players, they've got a 17 crore player, a 16 crore player, a 15 crore player, and a 12 crore player. Like
they did what RCB used to do.
There aren't, like, if you look through the makeup of other teams and like how they're spreading their money
they're
around.
Basically extremely lucky that the best T20 batter in the world only costs 8 crore.
yeah, exactly. If you look at the other teams, so there's nobody else stacking their lineup so top heavy. Like there's. By the time you get to like 9th on the list of most well-played Indian players, it's 75 crore, I think. Jason Behrendorff. The equivalent, sorry, Lag. The equivalent for Sunrise is Umran Malik at 400. The equivalent for Rajasthan is Jaiswal at 400. Chetan Sakaria is 420. I mean, like 420 for Chetan Sakaria. Imagine if they had him, they would. It's not even that good but at least there's another
He
guy who
didn't
can
even
bowl.
play for Delhi
Yeah.
last year that much.
Yeah, I'm giving him an F.
Yeah,
Let's do it. Let's do it. We've got to give someone an F.
Big fat F.
Yeah.
Sunrisers Hyderabad, I'm giving them an A.
A. That is an
Mhm.
A. Well, we've
Yeah.
never been more Sunrisers positive.
Yeah.
And Sudeep, who I do some bets with every now and again. Mate, I'm over the moon for you because what's happened at Sunrisers is a night and day difference to where they were last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, incredible.
Sudeep,
done, Brian.
on that point, he says, this is a super chat, I don't know if there's anything more embarrassing than Jack's hat. But
Bit rude.
do you want to do the bet with the Sunrisers
glasses?
hat again, Ross? So what was the Sunrisers bet? Was it $100 and you have to wear the hat all season?
Yeah. So it was, yeah. And if Sunrisers make the playoffs, I'm not sure I want to do that bet.
I'm sure he wants to do that bet.
Because this thing, like they've had Harry Brook, major addition. Heinrich Claesson, I don't think he was worth that much money, but Jack, we kind of talked about this on the Discord channel. He kind of offers what they needed as a backup option in their space. Agarwal at 8.25 crore is a steal. And then they've bought well elsewhere. I thought the Adil Rashid pickup was not that surprising. Akil Hussain at the end, Markande. They've given themselves a load of different bowling options. They've strengthened what it looks like their batting is much improved. And then I also think that
they also picked up Samoth Bias as well, didn't they? Which is the one that you mentioned the other day, Jack.
Yeah, got him for 20 lakh base price.
Yeah.
The only bit they haven't completely done, and this is their pace bowling lineup is sometimes made out of glass, and so that's the only area where I kind of thought they might have tried to get another pacer in
Which
there.
is why you should take that bet on.
Yeah, I mean that's maybe they could have gone in for like they end up with 6.5 crore left. Maybe they could have bought Shivam Mavi as a backup. I don't know. Did he go for a bit more than 6.5 in the end? So
no, he went for
not.
6.
So maybe that's probably the top end of what they could have got. But there are a couple of other pacers. Maybe they could have got Unad Cat as a backup, and at least wheels probably aren't going to go completely off if you have to rely on him. I really like what they've got. They'll need to be lucky with injuries, but I think they're okay. Even on the class and things, some people are like that's loads of money. But basically, what they wanted to do was buy a middle order backup batter who could keep wicket, and there was one of them in the auction pool, and they went and bought him
went for
because they had
16
42
crore.
They had 42 crores. It didn't matter. It was like play money for them. They could, they wanted class, and he was the only option. I'm going to go and buy him. It's a bit like when Matt Wade.
That much.
A bit like when Matt Wade went for 200 grand in the 100 last year. It's because he was a left-handed wicketkeeper who could open the batting. Like it was, there was one Matt Wade in the whole. There was one player who could do what Birmingham needed, and they went and they bought him. And
supply and demand.
But I think it's the same with Clarkson here. I also like Adil Rashid. I don't think he'll play all the games, but I think him combined with Marco Janssen, let's say, playing either one based on the conditions, I think it's a pretty good mix up there, and I think you'll get value out of both playing them that way, and you won't leave one of them exposed in a situation where they're going to be whacked into the stands. Stuff like that's clever. Is it if and you've got a caveat some of this, if they make the right strategic calls on the day. Don't know that they'll do that.
Well, they've got the tools.
And the only other bit on here is that there is a potential for a pace bowling replacement. So one of the ones that end up not sold. So Sydney Thunder have terminated Faruqi's contract. So we'll see what the spill out of that might be. But that could open up an overseas spot, and they might fill that with another pace bowler. Cool.
Right, we've got a couple more teams to grade. They're the newish teams. They're not the new teams. Well, yeah, they are the new teams, aren't they? Lucknow, Max, A to F.
Lucknow. So what did they do? They bought Puran for a whole lot of money. But actually, the rest of it, I don't mind. I think. I mean, Puran, like you said, it does improve their team. I just don't understand why they spent so much money on it. But I think they got some decent value elsewhere.
Definitely.
Like Naveen, for example, at base price as a backup to Mark Wood, I think is good. Daniel Sams, exactly the same. 75 lakhs, decent. Romario Shepherd at 50 lakh isn't awful. And then Unai Cad for 50 lakh is a whole lot cheaper than we thought he might go for. And and Yash Saka as
40-year-old
well,
Amit
the
Mishra.
young. Yeah, we'll
one of
forget
the
about that
leading-
one. We're gonna ignore that one.
He's one of the leading wicket takers in IPL history, Max. Have a bit of respect.
Yeah, okay. So I think on balance, we've given a few too many Bs, but I'm gonna stick with B.
Yeah, I think you can give a B here. I think you can go for a B or a C.
B
I'm
minus.
not wowed
I'll take
by
a B
it.
minus.
Not wowed by it, but bearing in mind who was available, I think it's.
But I
think
what
you're
they've
doing.
done
I think you're doing
is
well.
they've identified what they needed.
Exactly. I think if you were walking away from this auction with at least one player who's going to go in your starting 11 that was better than the players you had available before the auction, then you've done quite well here.
Yeah.
That's what was happening when they were playing last year, right? Their tail started quite early on, and actually they've put a bit of ballast into that team. I think their starting 11 actually looks really quite reasonable.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So let's give them a B, and this is why I'm unbiased to go back to them because it's funny. That's why they get an F, because although they have bought a player who gets into their starting 11, they've downgraded
Messed the whole thing up.
They've downgraded in a few positions based on last year because they can't. They haven't got any bowlers. They're going to have to use like randoms.
Rohit Sharma's going to have to bowl an over or two.
Gujarat, final team.
The champs, the reigning champs.
Yeah.
So who have they picked up? They picked up Kane Williamson.
Shivam Mavi, Josh Little.
Mm-hmm.
They were the big.
Josh Little's a big one. We need a word on Josh Little, I think.
Go on then.
First Irish player to play in the IPL. Reasonable amount of money.
I'm surprised how much he went for.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a bit of a bidding war against him. I mean, it's great for him, and it's great for Irish cricket as well. I think. But so I'm really excited to see whether he will play or not. But yeah, that was big news, I thought.
I know it definitely is, and I think looking at their team, there's a decent chance he'll play. So overseas, Rashid Khan picks himself. David Miller's definitely going to start, isn't he? You'd think they're probably going to go with Matt Wade to start the season, in a position somewhere, and that frees up Josh Little to come in and
it's him. Was it him, Alzari, or O'Dear Smith?
Yeah,
or Noor Ahmed. Yeah,
and I think of those, I would most like Josh Little playing if I was a Gujarat fan. I think there's
definitely a point of difference. I thought O'Dear Smith at 50 lakh was actually a nice pickup.
Yeah,
for them.
we take the piss, but I think for base price at 50 lakh, that's fine. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I kind of thought they wanted to get more intent up at the top of the order. Last year they didn't really go for that style, and they ended up winning it, so they're clear there. But again, like on paper, this team is so weird.
Yeah. Do you think? So Chattel's just said in the chat, basically Williamson's going to open up with Shubman Gill. They're surely not going to do that. Williams there is disastrous. A cheerleader, a coach. They've bought a coach. Yeah. That's what they've done, isn't it?
He's going to drive.
I really hope so. I really hope so.
Matt Wade is a better T20 player than Kane Williamson, and that's the person that he's vying for with that in that position. That is my take on that. You're not battling with David Miller in the middle of the order, right? Their whole thing is let's survive the first 8 overs or 10 overs and then go ballistic in the last 10. They've built their middle order around that. So maybe he's going to be there to do his 40 or 40 balls.
I can't believe any team would do that. And they've all been watching cricket presumably over the last 12 months, 18 months. I presume, surely
40 or 40 in the middle overs is exactly what they needed.
that's exactly
because you know what, Rashid Khan and Rahul Tewatia had too much of a head start last year.
I am going to give this team a D.
A D.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they've done. I think they've done all right. I think that it's probably a C on this one. I think O'Dear Smith is actually quite a good pickup at
He's
that
not going to
price.
play.
It's still an okay pickup. Josh Little, good pickup. Shivam Mavi, I think, is a decent pickup as well. Probably the second best domestic bowler, maybe the first best domestic bowler. I think they've done all right. C for me.
I'm going to go D. Max, you got the deciding vote.
C- it is.
Right, cool. We had a handful of questions from Twitter. Do you want to wrap them up and then we'll finish the show? It's been a bit longer than we expected, as usual.
Yeah.
That's cricket, baby.
Have you got them up? Those questions.
I have. Yeah, we had one from Erica Morris. What the hell happened to Punjab? How costly will the 12 crore unspent be for them? I think we've kind of covered that one, but they really missed out.
From a not I want 12 crore in my pocket point of view, it's really dumb. Like that's, I think that might just be greedy ownership wanting to keep some money in there.
Do they actually get that money?
I think
keep
so.
that money?
Well, where else is it going to go?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? We had Samir asking who had the best auction today. We think that is Sunrisers.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Ward asks how the Flying F did Pooran go for 16 crore. That's the IPL, baby.
Yeah.
It's teams with an inflexible buying strategy, basically. Like, if you wanted Pooran, then you should probably also have wanted, like, Will Jacks, and you should probably also have wanted Riley Russo. And to spend 16 crore on Pooran when either of those other two players are going to bring you something similar is a poor allocation of resources. And what you've done there is you've did a target list of players, not a target list of skills.
We did a target list of player.
Exactly.
We got another question. So, what are the awful buys? So, we think Cameron Green is an awful buy.
It depends on what you mean by awful, because I don't think Cameron Green is necessarily a bad cricketer.
Value for money wise, I think it's terrible.
Value for money is bad. I don't think Stokes is very good value for money at the amount of money he's sold for.
I mean, it's difficult to say that anyone's in there that, like you say, they got bought. Oh, there's no way they should have bought them. That's mental. But apart from maybe, I don't know. Joe Root's a bit of a weird one, I think.
Yeah, but he went really late, and I don't think he's going to play, so he doesn't really count. Like, I don't think, the early bidding wars the bidding wars that we saw, I don't think, by and large, were on players that are where it's kind of nuts. I mean, like Heinrich Klaassen, for example, is probably being paid 3 to 5 times the amount of money he's worth. But you can also see how that happened, and it did make sense that he ended up at the team with all of the money in the world. Like, it's not, it's kind of the same for Pooran. Like, it doesn't make sense. He's probably worth double what he's actually worth, but like, he's not bad for Lucknow. It fills a role.
Yeah, it was interesting.
And that happens at mini auctions as well, doesn't it? Just because of that.
Yeah, Max, were you happy to see Manish Pandey go to Delhi?
Yeah, I tell you what, Manish Pandey. There you go. There's your answer.
2.4 crore Manish Pandey. Yeah.
Well, I think they're the majority of the questions. Random cricket stats. It was the best bargain, do we think?
Mike Agarwal, surely.
Oh, that's what I don't think there's any shadow of a doubt on that one.
Was there anyone picked up for base that was really good?
I think Daniel Sams, for me, I genuinely thought he was going to go for way more, and he went at 75 lakh. I think
Jai Richardson at 1.5 is quite good. Don't mind that, but I think the thing with those is that I think for example, with Daniel Sams and Richardson, I think with those guys, you kind of think, you could have seen them before the auction. You can see them going for base price. Agarwal, I think we all expected it to be quite a lot more than what he did. At least
4 or 5 crore more.
Yeah, there were a couple of good younger pickups, right? In Prekad Mankad and Samath Vyas. I think they were okay. But
I think that was what I was going to say. At base price, I think the base price players, 20 lakh for Samath Vyas, even though there's not like a huge set of stats on him, like averages 30, strikes at 150.
At 20 lakh, it's mostly upside, isn't it?
Yeah, like that's, if it turns out that's because he was playing a team of car parking attendants in one of those weird games where he like play one of the northeastern states in India where they like football, not cricket. Maybe he did it against them and it's all a mirage, but it's still worth a look, isn't it? At 20 lakh.
Yeah, chatter with the chat suggests Reece Topley is one of the bargain buys.
Topley, I think, is a good shout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're all the questions that we had on the chat. Brilliant.
Cool. All right then, folks. We'll try and catch up with Dan, see if we can get a show with him about the IPL before the end of the year. We've got a Christmas special that we're going to do at some point. We're going to probably not put anything out for 4 or 5 days though, because we're all away doing our things. Have a festive Christmas, Max. You going to sing us out?
Well, no, we're not going to do that. I think we need to highlight and finish on Arfan's tweet from earlier, saying that Sunrisers Hyderabad got rid of both Rashid and Kane Williamson because they didn't want to make Rashid their highest paid player. A year later, they are both at Gujarat Titans. Kane Williamson being paid 2 crore, Rashid being paid 15 crore. That is the beauty of the IPL. Thank you very much for listening, and Merry Christmas.